Let's just do it. Let's get into it. All right. Yes. Welcome, everybody. I was kung fu fighting. All right. How's everyone doing? Having a smashingly good Friday. For those of you tuning in maybe from not North America, I hope your evening is going well. And those in North America, good morning and good afternoon. I am going to continue working on this guy. Just because I've been having a lot of fun messing with him, coming up with ideas with him. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to continue working on this lovely gentleman, which is a little tip of the hat to Short Circuit, you know, the original guy. I'm not trying to replicate him. I'm just trying to kind of be inspired about what they did, you know, like the Pistons. And you know, I think I've decided I'm going to put the little brows that he had, because I think they were just fun. So we're going to do that today too, and then get into more details of the head. So I want to finish this piece up. I want to make this be a lot more clean than what we have, especially since I'm going the route of what I'm doing. I've decided to go the toon route, make it look like toon shaded. So I want to make these lines a little more prominent and very, you know, matter of fact kind of elements that we would want to have in here for sure. So the first thing is here, I'm going to start looking at this. Let's hide also this stuff. And let's do a little slice-a-roo, slicing curve. And then I want to slice across here. So we kind of get a polygroup there. All right. And then I didn't have, that's not symmetrical, so I'm going to do the other side, mirror and weld that over. And then now, let's take these two polygroups, and let's go ahead and auto group these really fast. And that way I have 3 polygroups, and I want to now make these the same. There we go. Well, I don't know, they keep, there we go, keep doing the greens. All right. So because what I'm looking for, I want to use the polygroups, and I'm going to use the smoothing ability. I can just load this brush, but old school habit, I kind of just like going to the modify area, and I just want to make these lines a lot nicer, a lot cleaner. And then we're going to also take advantage of this as we move on more into this chest part here. Like, I just want this to get all nice and a lot more sharper right now for me. That is my ultimate goal. And instead of doing it globally, I kind of want to watch it. I want to see what it does. So that's why I have the polygrouping on. Ooh, yes, yeah, I don't like that right there. Let's make those the same polygroup. Okay, so I see why we have that. So let's do this. Let's do this. We'll make that a polygroup. And actually, we want to do the opposite. We'll do an auto group here. So that way, this and this can be the same polygroup. There we go. That's what we want. So that we come in here, we can really sure up this side of it. Yeah, there. Happy little trees. There, a little bit right there, a little bit right there. Let's make this be a lot more nicer there. And that's good enough for me here, right? So you can see that line being cleaned up, what it does for us. It does really makes the rendering be better, right? So when I throw on the jacket back on, I'm looking like that. That's when I want that nice crisp line. So I definitely want to do this some more here. I kind of want to sure these lines up a little bit. What brush am I using to make those in a straight line? So I'm using smoothing to do this, okay? But I've turned on something in particular in the smooth brush modifiers. So there is this slider right here, and if I scroll over, you can see there is another 9 smoothing brushes. So there's, in essence, in this one slider, there's 10 smoothing brushes, right? Because 0 is a smoothing brush. So I'm turning on number 9. So for this scenario, I would either use 6 or 9. Because 6 and 9 are looking at polygroups is what it's what it's looking at. It's looking at polygrouping. Okay? So that's what I want to do. So I'm going to spend some time really quick just shoring up. Oops, I don't want to do that. Just shoring up this polygrouping because I'm going to Zremesh this eventually. And then now that I've decided to put a jacket on him, right, I don't really care about anything else. But as you can see, all I really care about is this area of him. I don't really, nothing else is visual. So I don't care too much about it. But I'm going to make this be a little bit better of an area in here. I definitely think we need to do that to shore that up a little bit more. So I don't care about this being completely perfect. And then I'm going to turn on something else. So here, just for the sake of you guys, let's just select a different material so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm also going to turn on right now in the auto masking. I'm going to turn this slider all the way up to 100, which is a global setting. So now when I'm masking in this green, when I come up here, we'll zoom in, and I come up here and I hit this green, I can't go into any other polygroups in essence, right? I can only go into these polygroups. That's it, nothing else, okay? And then I would say, I think I want to now come this way with it. So we start aligning a little bit more with what's happening in there. Then we'll do this. Something like this, and then it comes around like that. Right, and then this is in essence going to be a polygroup. And there's a feature I could use that would make this a lot faster, actually. So I'm going to say polygroup. Now that's a polygroup. Okay. And then I want to make this a different polygroup for now, too. So I want this to come to here. We are going to see this here, so let's make this have its own polygroup. We'll come through here. Comes down like here, comes across like so. And so now we have this border. So I'm going to go to the masking and tell it to mask by region and see it automatically fills in. So I don't have to sit there and scribble in. We'll make that be a different polygroup. Okay. I am actually liking, I think I want to carry this line through too. So we're going to mask this section off. And I'm going to say, let's make this actually be its own polygroup as well. Right, so it's just, this is kind of why I like this technique. It's freedom for me to kind of just look at things really quick and see really what is it that I want to do. We'll Control W that. And then now that's all left is this. Because then that's also all we're going to see in this model. So the rest of it I could literally delete. I don't really need it, honestly. And then I want this, right? And then auto region, no, it's not liking that. So there's something here it's not liking. To figure out that region. Let's see if it can, yeah, that's something it's not reading right. Okay, and then Control W that. And just for the sake, whoops. Just for the sake, we'll make that be a different polygroup, just visually. Okay, and then now, again, using this smoothing brush, right, I can just control things in here. So now what I want to do is turn this off, so I no longer have that. And now to make this nice and clean, it's just the smoothing brush that's going to do it for me, right? And then, again, I can do this globally, is that even a word, globally? Okay. In the deformations, in essence, this is the same thing as going in here and doing this polish by groups. Okay, this would be the same similar thing, but I'm going to kind of do this. You know what? Looking at this piece 2 inside, I need another polygroup, another set of polygroups. So this is good enough for me. Again, we're not even going to see any of this. The jacket's covering all of this anyway, so I just want to have something halfway decent here. Good enough for that, right? I definitely see in here, I kind of want to do another polygroup in here. for sure. So I'm going to say I want this to come like so. And then let's make that a polygroup, so then we can have a defining nice little something like that. That's a little too much. I don't want to go that much. This is also why I like doing it kind of by hand. All right, that looks good. That looks good. I think I want to blend that in slowly. Now that I have this, right, if we turn this off, this is what I look at. I want certain things to align. So now if we switch back to the material that I made, right, I want certain things to landing away here, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to Z-remesh it. So let's go ahead. The default is fine. Let's Z-remesh it, okay? And so, but because I took the time to do polygrouping, I want to take advantage of that, all right? So if I allow this remesh to come through, there's the remesh, okay? And then this is what we get. What I want is I want it to keep the groups and use the groups as a driving force for the remesher. So I'm going to allow that. I'm going to remesh. And because I'm remeshing, I'm going to get a little bit denser mesh. I'm also going to use that to my benefit. I could go lower. So now you can see I've maintained all this. And then because now that it's clean topology, the material that I've made is going to look better. And what I want to do is turn on smoothing, dynamic, right? And you can see this is going to be nice for us. I'm even going to say let's turn on a smoothing of 5. So it is a very smooth mesh. And now I kind of want to bring back some of that sharpness again. So I'm going to say let's crease by polygrouping, right? And then see now those lines show up all of a sudden now a lot cleaner and better for us. And I'm going to say, let's knock down, let's look at 2. Yeah, something like that works for me. Okay, so it's really, and then now if I am now using this brush, right, you can see how quick you can change that up quite a bit, right? There's a lot there to this now. And I would say we might want, here, I'm going to polish this even a little bit now. So now the polish is going to be really strong. We'll do the global. Like I really want to, yeah, I want to clean that up. You make it really tight and clean. That looks good to me. All right, excellent. And then now this polygroup, let's use this to our benefit. Let's mask this off and then let's just pull this in even more. Okay, and then let's take these 2 polygroups and then now, right, look at this. I can polish this off a little bit more to give me a different, yeah, there we go, in there. Okay. And I'm going to do probably something else just to make this stuff even pop more, for sure. But now I can also then start using things like Brush the Modeler and say, let's now Q mesh by polygroup all, and then I can push this in and really make this kind of now have a something like that. Right, again, pull this off. Whoops. That will now stand out a lot more in here. Okay, that's what I'm looking for there. And I think now I want to do some elements in here. Let's take this body now, and let's see what we can make really fast. Again, it's pretty low in polygon, but let's see what it looks like. And did I get that question answered? I know you asked the question, so hopefully I answered it for you. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. You know what I'm doing all of this for is for you guys. It's for the users, right? That's what we're doing here, man. We're just a bunch of users coming together. All right, so I'm going to go into geometry here. I might need to get more density, but let's see. Let's see how it works. Let's see how it looks, okay? I'm going to edge loop, and I'm just from start. I'm going to turn off double and just do a loop, right? So, boom, you can see how much now that, because of what I'm using, that really stands out now, big time, okay? And I'm panel looping this. So I think I'm going to go with, I'm going to apply. I'm going to see also if I apply this dynamics. Now we're at 3 million. And now if I'm intrigued. Let's do just I'll do a quick saving the project because I don't know how long this is going to take. If we panel loop through, there we go. Okay, that's still too much for me. Okay, so I think we need way less thickness. That's getting better. Still less and less and less thickness. Okay, now we don't have enough. Okay, now let's look at this. Let's look at this up close. Okay, everything's clean, looking good. I think it might be now too dense. So let's go back to this. Dynamics. Let's divide up once, and then now turn on dynamics. And let's go ahead and say, let's elevation bevel. Okay, let's panel loop it. There, it's getting better. Okay. What I now want to try and do is, let's see with less polish in this and panel loop that. Okay. Let's see if we turn off the polishing. Yeah, okay. See, the only thing I don't like is what's happening right in here. The only thing I don't like. So what I think I'm going to do here, let me relook at this. Okay. So what I think I'm going to do now is, now that I have these polygroups, I'm now going to actually get rid of some of these polygroups because I think the paneling would look better if I get rid of the polygroups. So I'm going to make these be now the same polygroup. I'm going to, because I still have creasing. I think I want these now to be the same polygroup, and we'll make these be the same polygroup. No, I want to keep those separate, I think. Actually, yeah, let's see. Okay, that's the same. That's the same. What does that panel looping look like? Okay, that's getting a little bit more what I would want. Okay, I don't like the waviness in here, so let's do a little bit of some grouping. Let's just get an there we go. Yes. Yes. All right. And then panel loop that up. Okay, let me look what we got here. Okay, I like that. Don't like that. Okay. I'm intrigued. What if I made that the same polygroup, that and that the same polygroup? What do we get when we panel loop that? How do I feel about that? Okay, that's getting interesting now. All right. Okay. I definitely want to play with this line a little bit more. And now I'm going to switch my smoother. I am going to switch this now to number, where are you? 7. Because 7 is creased edges. So when I do this, those edges are still creased. I want to kind of spread this stuff out a little bit more. Kind of want to play with this ability of me having the capability of doing this. Bit in there. Okay, I'm going to say negative elevation also. Now we're getting that. Okay, I'm just trying to make in essence, trying to make a little harsher line here for the material to capture. Okay, and let's uncrease this. And then that way, well, I don't want all of it. What I do want, let's just use the modeler. Let's uncrease these edges here. I don't want these creased anymore. All right, and then now smooth that out. So that's nice and smooth. Okay, and let's go ahead and also let's uncrease this so it's that way. Okay, and I'm going to try, let's do another remesh here, and let's do a remesh though. Let's also turn on keep creasing, and then let's remesh this. And now we've got a little bit better flow of topology, I think, here. So we turn this on. Now this is what it's looking like. Okay. That works for me. Now there's two things we could do here. You know, I wonder what would be interesting. Let's do a trick here. We got crease edges. Let's bevel this based upon the creased edges now and see. We can just get a little bit of a bevel. So every crease edge is getting this bevel. And then now, let's do polygroup all Q mesh. I'm intrigued. Let's do an extrusion actually, because I don't want anything to weld here. Okay. No questions. No one cares what I'm doing. All right. And then let's say we do this. And then when you smooth, that is what we're going to get now. I think I prefer that actually. So we turn this off, and then this is what we get. Okay, so I think we should also, let's get rid of this crease. I'm gonna get rid of this crease. Okay, that's good. Then this will give us through there. Let's see what we get. Bevel. Okay. And then now we can extrude in. And then when it's smooth, it looks like that. All right. Let's go one, and then let's go one more. Just make it a little bit more harsh so it'll really stand out now. Yeah, there we go. That's more what I'm looking for. So then that will show up better in the final render too, because obviously I'm going to finally render this out. And then that's where we'll be at. Okay, I'm okay with that. The only thing I want to fix now is right in here. Whoops. I am going to come in here and make these be creased now. Let's crease that one and that one. Let's crease that one and that one so that when we divide, those will hold a lot better in the sharpness area that I would want. And I think we are going to need, let's see, let's insert a single edge and then insert another one. I want that to be a little bit more sharp there. Yeah, I want that look more. Okay. Boom. Yes. Now we feel, see, and I dug that in too much. So let's switch to the move brush. Let's select the jacket. And I need to push this in so that the metal part here is seen a little bit better there. A little bit smaller. Oh, I've been pushing on. Let's make sure I actually have the jacket selected. That is a useful thing. I just don't want it showing up. There we go. That's what I want. I want that. Okay. All right, let's get into the head now. Let's put some fun stuff in the head. Let's put those eyebrow kind of things on him. So in essence, what I mean is these big flaps. These bad boys. These bad boys right here. Let's make something that'll work for him. Okay? So we could just use a plane. Obviously, we'll go the low polygon route. There's multiple ways we could do this, but we'll go the long polygon route for sure. And then so, okay, that's good. That's good. All right, so this is the jacket, and then here's the head parts. All right, so let's start at the bottom here. Let's insert a plane. Okay, this is our plane. I don't want this many topology, so let's replace it with this plane and do something like that. Then I want this to live here. Then for now, we'll go 90 degrees. We'll go 90 degrees here. Move this up. Scale this way down. And let's look from above. And let's go ahead and say, what's going on here? Is my pen? What's going on? My pen is not seeing right click all of a sudden. There it goes. There we go. We'll turn on transparency because I want to look through this, and let's put this plane here. I think the start of it for me will be good right there. Okay, and then let's make it not so big that direction and not so big this direction. Oops. So I think I'm going to go more that route with mine. Okay, and so now we have this. Let's go ahead and give it some thickness. So let's do some dynamic. Let it have some thickness to it. See how thick we want to make that. Probably not too thick, but kind of want it to. So I'll bring this down, and we might go bigger. I think it does need to go bigger, wider this way, and I think even longer in general. Definitely something more. I'm gonna go a little bit more. Something like that, and then we'll have it live right around in there. That world is where we have it. Oh, hi, welcome, jewelry CAD designer from India. Thanks for tuning in. We're widely used in that for sure. There's a lot of jewelers using ZBrush to do that for sure. And I've done some trainings. I've done some helping in that as well. So definitely a lot of potential there for us. Okay. So this is now let's add the creasing, because then that's really the size of this. So you can see this is huge. So this is way too big now, because I was looking at the smooth version after I made some of my adjustments, and I don't want to be looking at that version. Okay, I'm gonna go right now. That looks good to me. Let's dynamically. All right, let's go ahead and say, let's apply this with no smoothness. Now let's turn dynamic on, no thickness. Let's have it now have some smoothing, but let's crease all the corners so they're creased, and let's now drop our crease level. So now we have this, and let's go ahead back to ZModeler. Again, let me know if you got any questions. I'm here to help wherever I can. And give you guys any kind of assistance and answer anything that I can answer for you all. Happy to do so. You just got to let me know what you would want to know. That's about it. Okay, so I would say, if I make this come off like this. Now we start good at this. Let's do a crease all just so we can see where we're at. Okay. I'm liking this. I think I like it to have some round corners, and I think let's do what they did as well. Let's flip it 180 and do that instead. And then Let's do one inserted edge. And here, we'll solo this out. And now I don't want that edge right there. I don't want that to be creased. I don't want that to be creased. And now we'll have rounded corners there. And so now I got rounded corners everywhere, which I'm fine with. And let's actually insert now an edge loop here. Let's play with that other corner. Something more like that. And then just to sake of less movement, okay. So I think something like that could be pretty interesting, yes. Which is becoming then his little, that's not bad, that'll work for me. I think we'll go a little bit more extreme here with this. Let's make that be even more extreme. Let's do that. All right. Now let's do a little. Let's get a little insert mesh brush. I'm gonna grab something from here. I think that right there would be nice to have, and we will put these. And now I'll just simply duplicate it there. Okay, and now we have these. Let's do 2 more of those. Something like there. Now we have that. And I think I am going to have a little more fun with this, I think. All right, let's let me think this through. I'm going to do a little bit more with this, I think. I want to see something. I'm going to see. Okay, let's solo this out. Let's go Z modeler. And I'm going to say, what if I take these faces? I just want to see what this would look like. Okay, they're all set, all set, all set. Then I do an inset on those faces. So make something like that for me. All right, and then I want this to come in as well, too. So we will center this. I think if we did something more tapered, number 1, I think could be fun. And then now I want this. Let's extrude, polygroup all. Let's push this in just a bit and do it again. So it makes multiple edge loops. And then do something more like that. And then I think, let's do a crease all real quick. Something like this. Yeah, and I think now this needs another inserted edge loop to kind of hold that a lot better. There we go. Yes. Just some other element in there too. And then let's get back to this is not creased. So we'll soften this edging up. And now we have that rounded portion again. I think it needs some kind of plate here. Honestly, let's put a plate there for sure. I'm gonna put a little plate on there, I think. Okay, so brush. Let's see. I don't remember. Let's see if there's a plate in here that I would want to use. No, I'm gonna use the one then. I'm going to come into here, come into this train, use the train. I know I've got a plate in here that I like. I want this plate right here. Okay, and then I want this. Let's look at this. Let's mask this off. Okay, and then now we can center this on these little screws. Let's do this. Let's duplicate the screws, and now I just click on what I want. Where's that plate? Here, there's the back panel. A blank panel there. All right, and then I'm going to make it be sitting more in, more in the right direction because I didn't have my arrow right. Let's size this up so it's an actual panel that is there. Okay, and I am going to mask this off and then extrude so we make it a little bit thicker of a panel. Definitely. And then now let's just move this panel down so it's a little bit sitting more like that. Okay, and then this panel, I think, brush C modeler. Let's do an insert, multiple edge loops. Let's keep the poly grouping as is. I want, more, topology in there. I'm going to shore up the corners on the panel a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. Something like that, I think, is good. Feeling, I wonder. Okay, let's slide this. The corners I think are a little too much for me. Yeah, that's better for me. Okay, I like that. All right, still no questions. Again, feel free to fire away any questions that you might have. Let's turn this off. This is now what we got brewing for him. Something like that. Right? Bada bing, bada boom. Thinking I want, this is just, there's just one other thing I want to try and maybe do here with this. I'm going to polygroup, polyloop this. Okay, and then I'm going to extrude, polygroup all, and make just a little lip right there. And do two of them so that it gives me this look. Okay, I like that. All right, and I think for the brow, I'm going to go to darker, right? A lot darker of a metal. So let's color, fill object, and then now go back. So we have the contrasting of the grays right now in there. Okay. Works out. It did work for me. It works for me. So we need we definitely want a bottom for him. You know. Okay, so that one works for me. Let's copy this. I definitely don't think we should have the same thing on the bottom as well. But okay, so this. All right. So now what I think I'm going to do is, I want to go a little bit also what they're doing for their thought process here for this. I'm going to live in that world too a little bit with them. So I am, just so I have it, I'm going to get rid of this bottom portion. Right? Yes. Let's get rid of this. And we will do a delete hidden. There we go. Let's take now just this. We'll center that so it's centered. And then let me duplicate this. And then now let's replace that with a cube, which has no divisions in either direction. Let's do a crease by angle. Let's make this be a lot more in that world. Okay, and then let's start making what this piece is going to be. And I think I want this to also live in a different spot on him as well. So I want this, I think, to live more here in that realm. And let's just quickly map out. I want it to be a lot wider, I think, would be interesting. Okay. And maybe not as long. Something more in that realm. Okay. Now, okay, let's look at just this. Now let me fix this. Let me have this go a little bit deeper so we can see that panel better. There we go. And I think, so looking at them, they kind of like really rounded that off just to be something a little bit different, obviously, too. It would be, that's a nice idea. It's a nice thought. Let's play with that idea, kind of what they did as well. Sponge da Bob. ZBrush does have folders. I'm using folders right now. I don't know if you're talking about other kind of folders, but ZBrush does have folders. If that's what you're referring to for subtools, let me know if that's what you're referring to. Unless you're thinking about nesting folders, this is something that's definitely on the list of things for us to look into for a new UI for desktop and see what we can come up with for sure. I'm going to go that route, but let me know if that's what you were asking about, because I'm not sure if that's what you were asking for. Let's go. I want to go here. Okay. Then I am going to, let's crease these. I'm going to crease this. I'm going to crease this. That way I can now slide. Let's do a complete edge loop slide and have that live right around there. And then let's Q mesh this out. Let's get rid of these faces. And I think these, this can move that direction. And then let's take this. Let's crease it all. I want it to be more sharp like that. Okay, and let's uncrease this again right in here. Let's make this be a lot more rounded when it smooths. Just something like that. As an example. Not bad. It's something different for sure. I think looking at this, I'm trying to see. I don't think I want to go that small. Yeah, that's a good size. I like that. I'm not a fan of this, so let's see. I'm going to insert another edge loop and just play with that angle. I prefer that. Let's make another edge in here that holds that a lot better there. And now I think I want this to get rounded here. Whoops. I don't want to delete. I want to uncrease. So that becomes more rounded there. I prefer that. And if that gets rounded there, I prefer that. There, I prefer that now. Now let's add a little bit of an element like I did up here with this one, because it would only make some sense for us, right? So this time I'm going to actually insert an edge loop that goes right there. And let's do an insert and crease at the same time. Let's say I want to live in that realm, and let's make sure it's straight, like so. Okay, and then now I'm going to taper again this once again. I want this front end to be tapered down more, like so. Just give a little bit of that, and then now this time I'm going to do a different. I'm going to insert here instead. Then I'm going to QMash polyloop this like this. Okay. And then I want this to happen. There. I want that to happen. And let's take this. Let's do a crease all so it's a little bit more sharp. Okay. And then I think that's as far as I want to go with that. There we go. Right, and then now let's place these in a better spot for now. So I want this to sit probably a lot closer. Right, and then let's select the head. Let's pick this color for now. So we got that color. And then now let's grab this color. Let's select this. And let's fill that one with that color, and then come back to this color. All right. Okay, I like it so far. Let's go ahead and mirror and weld it over so we got both, so we can start looking symmetrically at this and thinking about how this is going to work. I think I'm going to need to do something like they did in here as well. Okay, so I'm going to put another element in there. Something that the top portion, right? So if we look, let's see, what's this picture got? Yeah, see this big element? Yeah, I think we do something, because I think that's where we'll also attach the little brows too. And then this brow, you know, they're using this technique, this square thing. We'll take a look at that and see if maybe I want to do that same thing, and then I can attach it. I can attach the bottom one to that. Maybe we're going more Johnny number 5 than I thought. So I was trying not to do completely Johnny number 5, but you know, why not? Let's try it. All right. So let's move this up in here now. Let's do say something like this. Right, that's good enough. Definitely do something else in the neck. I just haven't decided yet. All right, let's rock and roll. Let's put something in here that these would connect to. So do I want to keep them in this? Okay, let's do eyelids. Oh, I have all caps on. We don't need to be yelling at myself. That's for sure. Eyelids. Okay, that's good. Good. And let's start playing with some pieces that we could have sitting now. right, whoops. Let's start playing with some pieces. So let's grab first. Let's do the cubes first. I'm going to grab the cube. Let's crease all this for now. Okay, and then say, okay, that would live over here. Kind of what they also did in the original design. I would not want it to come all the way to the top. And then I'd want this to kind of live maybe in that world. I don't know if I'd like that. It's not horrible. Let me look at the silhouette. I don't think I want to go that far. I like that empty space that's happening in here. I think I'd rather go this route with it. And now the question is, do I want to make it more this direction? Okay, like if I go this far, it's going to really change some things up. I'm not sure yet. Let's throw on QGrid. I want to see what that's going to look like. Not as big as a coverage. Something more in that realm. I think I want to go round, so I'm going to un-QGrid this. And I think what I want to do is, let's go back to inserting an edge loop here. I still got stuff masked off. Okay, and let's definitely have creasing as I'm inserting these. So let's crease this. Let's crease this. Definitely, at least I don't know if we need that, but let's uncrease this edge so it becomes rounded like that. And then now let's insert another one kind of a little bit more rounded. Let's slide this kind of fit a little bit more in that realm of the world, I think. Interesting. Let's insert one this way now. Let's make that a little bit more defined. And then now we need one, whoops. Now we need one in the back here. Make that a little bit more defined shape. So now we have something like this going on. I think we need to find, I think I need to exaggerate that even a little bit more. Let's slide this way up, way over, something like that. And then I wonder what this would look like if this was, so again, if this edge is uncreased, a little bit more rounded like that. I don't know if I like that or not. I think it's rounding too much. And let's insert something there up here so we can, I want that to be a little bit more tight. Something more in that world. I don't know if I like it being this long, huh? I think, let's look. Let's see, what do I like better? I think I like that better, especially in angles like this. It just looks a little bit more interesting to me. I think that's better. Okay, so I'm okay with this. And then now we can attach this, right? So if we mirror and weld this over, now we've got this happening. Right? And then this. Now let's move these down a little bit more. I'm going to put them on an angle too, so they'll pop a lot better. But right now I'm holding off on the angle. All right. And now I need something for in here for these to attach to. So let's do that. Let's put something there. Yes, Mira Strew. Yes, this is all gets recorded and dropped to our YouTube. That's what happened. That'll be what happened to it. It'll get dropped to our YouTube for sure. Since you're asking the question. All right. Alrighty then. So, okay, that is good. That is good. I'll probably do something else with it as well. What if we... I want to see what this would look like. Let's paint this, 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 and this. And let's Q mesh this out. What's that look like? Because then that will really make it stand out a little bit more. Let's grab all of this, crease all. Yeah, I think I want to put something like that because I'll put something else there, accenting wise. I think for sure. Crease, partial, and make that rounded. I don't think I had symmetry on, mirror and welding that, and then boom, yeah. Just adds another layer to it. I like that layering ability. Yeah. Yep. Okay. We'll figure out the attachment later. I might still do something in here, right? I think it could also, it wouldn't hurt if I put something else in there. Like say like this could be interesting to like put right here. Let's turn symmetry on. Then I can do one of those. And then I think it might be cool if I replicated this and then made a smaller version of that. We want local with no dynamic. And just make a smaller version of that. So we have this kind of... Yeah, it's just something else to go in there. I think it also, you know, the more and more I look at this, the kind of, I now looking at this, brush Z modeler, let's do an inset, let's do flat island. I think I want to see what this would look like. Hold on, I want to see if, do I want it to wrap? Yes, I think, let's not do flat island. Let's take, okay, so this is where it'll get interesting. Okay, let me turn this on. Okay, so I would want this all. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see. I'm intrigued by something else here. And then let's do an inset by polygroup all. We will do the standard so I don't have to worry about it creating triangles. Something like that. And then we'll Q mesh this out. Polygroup all. Looks like. Just to create this idea of Another layer. Okay, now we got to match our creasing. Okay, so this right here has to become uncreased. Creased, creased, creased. We want it to round there. We want it to round there. That we are creasing. That we are creasing. And then I do want this creased. I want that creased. I want that creased. I want that creased. And I definitely want that creased. I want that creased. And make sure that one's creased. Now we have this happening. Like internal. Now we have like that. Yeah. Yep. That works for me. Then let's take now these. Let's pull them out a little bit more. Something like that. All right. We're getting somewhere, people. We're getting somewhere. Let me do a save next. All right. Who do we got? Anybody have anything, questions that are glaring, happening, things that you might want to know? By all means, fire away what you want. All right, let's make a copy of this. I'm going to do cylindrical. Let's do this now. I need to see it a lot bigger. All right. I don't want spans there. Let's 90-degree that. Size this down. Needs to be creased. Okay, so just so I can, for purpose of working faster, I'm going to split this off. Okay, and then this is what we got. So now I can crease these. So now we got this look. All right, let's think about this a little bit more. Let's turn on symmetry. Let's say I want inserting with creasing. Let's say I want something like this. Then something really tiny like that. Okay, let's take all these faces. All right. Just those. Now we can Q mesh this out. Oh, I have some still selected in the back. Q mesh this out. Something like this. Whoops. Shrink it down. Control W. Let's Q mesh this out. Alright, and then I will insert an edge here. Let's insert an edge here. Let's do something like that. Do an inside edge here. We'll do one there, and then let's do that. And then the same thing here. Let's do this and do a more defining edges like that. Okay, let me mirror and weld it over. We don't want that edge loop right now. So now we got something like this happening. All right, let's size it down. It's way too big for me. All right, and then do I want it to sit out further? Okay, I think now what I'd like to see, I think it'd be cool. Let's try it. Let's use the extender. Let's extend it like this, and then extend it like this as well. Now, do I want like this kind of a thing? Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think it's adding a little element to it here. All right, makes sense. Theirs was a lot bigger, right? So I can say accept that, and extender, but I don't want it symmetrical. What if I do? I want that. Kind of like that. It's like a nose, right? It's interesting. It's providing like kind of like a nose for him. Do I want to push it in even more though? Like, do I want to go? Is it too much? I think I like it with less for me, for mine, for my guy, for what that I'm doing here. Okay, so these flaps, you know how they had them, like they got them in this little thing. We could definitely do that as well, right? So then this then would sit a lot higher. These would sit a little bit higher like this. And okay, they would need to go even higher than that. They need to be kind of in that world. And then sit a little bit more here, I think. I want them to come a little bit closer. Don't be shy. All right. And we can now with this, we can tell it to insert multiple edge loops. All right, and then now I want, I think these, let me look at this. Let me look at what's being created here. Then let's see if I Q mesh this in. Right, and then I want creasing along these edge here. I want that creased. I want that creased. No, I didn't turn symmetry on. Oops. I want that creased. Want that creased. So it creates something more like that. Right. And then now let me take this. Q mesh, polygroup all. Let's make another deeper cavity to this. Something more like that. And then now that I've done that, let's turn on symmetry. Let's turn off dynamic. Let's crease that corner now and that corner too. So it stays consistent like that. Increase that for now. There we go. Something like that. I'm definitely going to do something else in the front here. I want to do something else there for sure. For me. Okay. All right. No other questions have come through yet for us. So continue the fight. Continue on. All right. Just making something. Making me a little bit bigger. All right. And then now I want to use this. We are going to just look at just this, and then let's take that face right there. Let's take that face, Q mesh. Let's rip it right off. Give it some thickness like this. So it has different polygroups. Crease all. And then this is the little element that these, whoops, will connect to. Want it to come a little bit more in. All right. then I'd say right about probably there is good enough. And that's that, and then it needs to push all the way in. So it gives us this illusion of what we would want. And then I think, yeah, let's go like here. Let's Q mesh just a single poly, but let's just make it thicker. Give it a little more substance there for us. Okay, and then here, let's insert a single creasing, and then halfway point. So it can give me that. Let's do one this way as well. Let's do, say, something like that. So now this is what it looks like. And I think I'm going to go the route of something else here. So let's go with all right, let's do this. Let's brush insert. Let's get a cylindrical, something like this. Let's turn symmetry on and then draw that out. And then that will live here like so. Okay, and then we got this. Okay. That, okay. Let's now, we're going to do this and have it connect. I'm just thinking what I want. Do I want to do more, something like that? I kind of like that one better. I'm a bigger fan of that. Then let's look at this. Let's brush the modeler. Let's insert, not half. Let's still have creasing on. I say go around that big of a shape. All right, so then let's do polygroup flat island. So we can get that to be a different polygroup. That way I can shrink it, make that a different polygroup. And then now let's Q mesh polygroup all. Let's give it this ability. Something like that right now. Where are you? Increase all. Okay, and then now let's do an insert. Yes, let's do an insert crease here and one here. And then let's take this Q mesh poly, probably not even needed, but I'm doing it anyways. Something like that, so it creates that element. Okay, and now on the opposite side, could use the same thing probably. Let me think. So let's, I say we move these even higher. Okay, so if they turn, and with this, okay, so we could use these. Let's have these go a little bit higher, like this. And then let's go back to this. And I want to see if we took these and then we replicated them, okay? Right, and then they actually live this way. Whoops. They live here. degrees. We're back here. Say somewhere maybe in that realm. Okay. And then what I would want to see now, let's look at this. Thinking I want to brush the modeler. Let's do this. Let's take this. Let's do inset polygroup all. Something more like that. Let's take this polygroups. Let's get rid of these polygroups. Delete hidden. Then let's take this. Let's do a close, convex. I'm going to do arc. Let's do an arc. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, I don't want, what am I doing? I don't want close. I want bridge, 2 holes, arcs. I don't want to close. I want a bridge. Kind of let ZBrush figure some of this out. Now it does that. Let's see what other options look like. Let's see what spline looks like. Maybe round corners could be interesting. I tend to like that one a lot. Okay, so there's my first hole. There's my second hole. Wait, do I have it masked off? I'm going to do this. Let me just make sure I am clicking on that one. Oh, I've done it too many times. There it is. This one. That one. Okay. What have I done? Oh, I went back too often. There's not even a hole. Click here. Oops. Here to here. Yikole. I don't know if I like that. Let's do round corners. I want to see what that looks like. Ooh, I kind of. So I'm using, okay, kind of like less topology. We don't need it as a dense. I kind of like that. All right, because then it looks like that. Then it looks like that. Okay, I'm good with that. I am okie dokie with that. Right, and then it would slide on this. Right, so you would get this pivots, and then this, we want some roundness in here a little bit more. So let me sell that a little bit more. So to sell that, let's do this. Oh, okay, so we definitely don't need this many edge loops. Okay, symmetry on. Like, this is ridiculous. We don't need this many. Let's go one more here. Okay, there. Let's QMesh polyloop this out. All right, so that we got like a little, looks like a little ring thing happening there. And then now I'm going to go and say, Yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll put that in there. That's okay. I'm just thinking out loud in my head. Sorry, you're part of that craziness. So we probably want that to be a little bit nicer. Okay, and then let's sell it. Christmassy. And then Q-mesh, polygroup all. Oh no, there's a one up here too. I accidentally got in the fray. Bevel that, and then we'll crease it. Complete edge loop, crease that up, and then let's insert. Give it an insert so that when we smooth, we got this now. Gives a little bit more oomph in there. Hey, what up, Patrick 4D? What's crackalating? Oh no, there we go. I went a polygroup too far. Polygroup too far. You know what? We're going to just go back to inserting. This sometimes is just the faster way to do creases. Stuff like that. Okay, that looks good to me. Off and running. Let's now take this. Let's now expand this out. So it actually, oh, we need this to match. Let's expand that out. Okay, let's crease these. Creasy, creasy. Creasy, creasy. Let's take this. Q-mesh, polygroup all. Let's push these in. Let's just sell this a little bit more, so that we get that, right? And then this is what's going to connect to above. So what I want to do now is I'm going to take, let's say this face, this face, this face, this face, this face. Maybe, might be too much. Let's find out. Okay, do we want to Q-mesh it or do we want to I'm going to Q-mesh it. I want to Q-mesh it all up this way. Right, so that this attaches in to that. Okay, and then now let's take these faces. Let's do a transpose, polygroup all. Let's click on those. And now I just want to do a straight extrude up and then flatten them out. Something like that. And it won't be that much extruded up. Maybe something more in that world, I would say. Something like that. I want this creased here. Yeah, something more like that. I want that creased. Something more like that. So it gives the visual that this has got the flat surface that connect into my things here, but then it can still move, do things like this as well. Okay, and then that is that. Let's move these up again a little bit more. Let's center this up. Let's move these up like so that we can actually see that portion. All right. And for giggles, I'm going to take all of this. Oops. Let's take this. Okay, yep. Let's mask this off. Bring this Let's center these. Let's make sure everything else is masked. So then all we get is these guys. Yep. Then I want to invert, rotate them 180. And now we're going to put them also on the bottom of this plate. Because then that's what that connects into. And then voila, we got us something here. We got our moving parts. It's a happening. Things are happening here. Right. Right, because then now this is where I can play with this idea. It might be actually beneficial, now that I think about it. It would be better for me, just for the posing part, to come back into here and let's, like, it's going to be better for me actually to rip these off. Like, it's going to be better here, like, let's go Q-mesh, poly loop. Let's push these all the way in. Yes, yes, and yes, and then yes, okay, and then take these, let's rip these off, let's split it, and then we are going to make these part of this, and then that way, no UVs, merge down, okay, there. That way I can use those inner loops now. So what I want to do is now I'm ready now to pose this. Okay, I got the mechanism that I want to use. Now I want to kind of pose these eyelids a little bit. I can come in here and take, you know, here, let's change this polygroup in here. Let's polygroup it, polyloop it. Let's make that be different. Let's insert an edge. Just so I have something to grab, like this. Because then now we can do this, oh my god, seriously. Keygen, this thing. Okay, then, now when I have my gizmo on, right, we can center this. Come on. Oh, my keys are stuck. Well, I gotta do this keygen thing that popped up. Sorry. Okay. All right. So now that I have this, I could center this, right, and make the gizmos aligned with that, right? And so when I rotate this, right, now we want this off, now these rotate, right, and then now I'm looking for more something like that, but I don't want the bottom ones to rotate, so I might, for the sake of making this easier for me, split them off as well so that I can still rotate this and then, right, or rotate down. So now there's the expressions for him. I don't know if I'm happy with the mechanism completely. We'll move on though. I don't want to leave it because I also want his eyelids to do this, like this. So we could put that mechanism thought process down here, where okay, I got an idea of how we could do that actually. I can see how we could do that. So let's solo this out. Let's solo this out. Let's split hidden just for now. And then let's say insert multiple edge loops. Let's do something like that. Nothing there and there. Let's split. That's enough. Then let's Q mesh this in a single polygon. Then we have this happening now. All right. Let's see if we insert single edge loop, no creasing. We get something like this. Okay, so now we have this. And then now if I go this way. Always got to be singing. Always be singing. I got this on both sides. This. Hold on. I think what we want to do is this. Then we'll pick one of these. And then now this sizes up. And this is your. Okay, I need this to align the same direction like that. So that when I add these, they're aligned the way I want them aligned. So now I want this to sit here. Something like that. And let's go in. And then I need to crease this for sure. So it sits better in there. And then this. Right, I think I'm going to actually get rid of this portion. Let's go back to this, delete hidden. Let's take these, oops, center those so I know I'm centered on those. Let's make them actually smaller down here. So it sits more like that, so there's more room for them. And let's also, let's play with maybe even the rotation. So it's already on an angle. Right, and then that would give us this tilting ability, because I think that is what's needed as well. Okay, let's solo this out. Let's do our bridge again. So now we're gonna go from small to big, which is fine. So I'm gonna bridge. Let's bridge 2 holes. Let's go from here to here. Is not as much. Turning like this, then it's like this, then it's like this. Okay. And then I want to okay, so now let's take this Q mesh and push this down. And now we've got all that movement now. Now this can kind of, because I don't want them to be perfectly flat, right? We want to make them have an expression here, right? So if we went back to this, I'd want this to kind of give them an expression like that, right? But now we would want to do that from this guy. Oops, from this guy. Not that one. This one. We want to do it from here. Okay, that's sitting there. So let's turn this on. And boop boop. Let's say we want this on him and we want this on. Okay, those are the only things we want on. But I want this to be also masked out. So we do this. Now we're following the rules. There we go. And there we have it. We'll do something like that. And there is the positioning of that. I think I want to do more. I want to get away from this now that I have this and kind of get more into the face. Just because now that I've opened up his face quite a bit, I want to do that. What's up, Rodolfo? Why are you not asleep? Oh, it's only 9:36 there for you. Shoulder. All right, so this is what I now want to start playing with. I want to start playing with the front of the face a little bit here. And I really think, for me, we might need to go lower in polygon count, but let's see. Maybe we'll luck out. Maybe we will luck out. Okay. So this did not be as straight as I wanted, so I'm going to clip this and make sure this is super straight, like that. I want that really, really straight. Then we'll do inset, polygroup all, and give it a little bit of an inset. I don't need a lot, just want a little bit. Then I'm going to Q mesh, polygroup all this out, because I want to put a little lip in there. I want like something like that to start happening. And then that will bring that to life a little bit more, for sure. Okay, let me look at this. Okay, let's take these two polygroups for now. Let's uncrease all, then let's take them again. Let's crease by old PG'er so that we get a better result there. Okay, that's a little bit more clean that I want. Okay, let's make Z modeler. Symmetry is on. Let's crease it by partial. So those corners now match. That. Okay, we're good, and we're good. All right. So what else now do I want to start putting on this? Because I went with like a smaller nose kind of a thing for him. So I definitely want to do something in here. I haven't decided kind of what though. What we would do. I wonder how interesting it would be if we did another inset here. I want to see what this will look like. Let's do an inset. Let's do, yeah, see, I can only go so much bigger. I just want to kind of look at this because I might be able to do this a different way. I might have a better way to do this. And then Q mesh, polygroup all. Okay, so let's do this as a test. I want to do this as a test. Like I could definitely use Spotlight to do it. It's an old trick. I guess we can do it. It's been a... All right, let's try it. Let's try it. Let's try this old Spotlight trick. Let's take this. All right, so I've got this. Let's go ahead in the alpha, create. Now we want to from mesh. From mesh. Let's frame this bad boy. Okay, we'll zoom just a bit. We'll keep it framed. Let's say that, say okay. Let's now add this to Spotlight. All right, and now I can use this to snap it a little bit there. So do I have perspective on? Interesting, we need to check that. And then, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Boop, 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 boop. Is it? Yes, the framing. Oops. I can shrink the framing. Okay, and then now tell it to make a piece of geometry that is negative. Oops. That's for time being. Yes. Yes. And then mirror weld it across. All right, and then let me... Okay, we don't want this anymore. We don't want this anymore. Now what we want is we want to create some thickness here. It's been a minute since I've done this trick. And let's just create some thickness here. What am I trying to do? 81,000? There we go. And then now I have the same thing. I'm going to kind of cut into the surface. And now the one above that, let's turn everything on. Let's take this. Where's this sitting in space? And then now, do I want to do that? Do I want to make a little lip here? I don't know, I think I like the lip. I kind of like that. I think the lip size is good too. I'm going with it. I'm saying yes. I'm a fan of it. It also makes his face come together a little bit more too. Holly Sheedy's hair is cracking you guys up, yeah. It's the 80s, baby. It's the 80s. I'm gonna save this out. So now that I have this, since I made my own alpha from this, let's go and save this Spotlight out and call it Johnny. There we go, just so I have it always. Okay. I'm going with that for now. I kind of like that. And now I kind of want to see a couple other quick things. I want to switch to here. I want to see what this would be if we now draw symmetry, draw two of these bad boys out, but I don't want them on this one. Yes, I do. I want them on this one. What if I start doing now stuff like this? So it looks like that. And then I want to see these bad boys. What do these look like? I don't like that. Could be interesting. Maybe put a pattern in there now that I've done that. That could be interesting. Like, I could see that being interesting. For sure. Let's try this one. No, I want that one. Okay. I'm probably running into... Let's reset this. And then now let's select looks like I'm having the selection issue. Not that one. This one. And then what if I rotate it? Do I rotate it this way or this way? Let's go this way. Let's go here. But then I think what we need, instead of 2 being there, let's put 1. What do you guys think? I think this is interesting. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Right now there's 2 of them here. So let's auto group this so we can get rid of the 1. Okay, and then that way we can get rid of 1 of these. Delete hidden. Now we only have 1 of these. Let's do this. Let's do, whoops, let's go right in there, that way, let's do a mirror weld. Oh wait, do I have another one in here? I didn't delete it. Okay, and then now, take this, center it, let's do this. Let's see what this looks like now if I go here, or what does it look like if I go all the way across? I don't like it all the way across. And so now let me also mask this off. Now let me turn the symmetry on so I can do this instead. Okay, I like that. And I think I want to put, I think there's something in here that I want to do. I can't put my finger on it for myself right yet. I don't have it yet of what I think I would want there. It's not popping for me yet. It's not standing out for me yet. So when I get into that, then I just kind of move on. And see what else. Like I could see maybe a piece of geometry being here. And some kind of other element for him that does this. Okay, this I am going to use. Let's duplicate this out, and then in here, is it this one? Let's see. No, it's not in this one. I want brush insert. I want this one. So let's go a lot bigger. There. And I want one of these. Going to become the mouthpiece in essence. Now, do I like it rounded or squared? Is going to be the #1 question. I don't know what you guys think. I think I might have to go rounded because I rounded this. I think I want to read it. So I think we'll go with this. I'm gonna split this off for now. And then this is now. Okay, that's not the one I want. I want this one. Okay, and looking at this, I only want this portion. We can delete the rest. Delete the hidden. Delete the hidden. Now we have this. I think what could be interesting now, it's rounding, 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 rounding. Let's see. Okay, so from this point, okay, brush the modeler. I want, okay, let's do this. Let me really look at this so I'm paying attention to what I'm looking at here. Don't want it symmetrically. I only want to go in that direction. That'll give me that. And then now, let me solo this out. That's going to be the only thing I have to worry about. So maybe I get rid of that for the time being, just so I can do what I'm thinking right now. Yes. Brush the modeler. Just a single, like what if I started, let's get rid of this for now. Get rid of all this for now. Should have turned symmetry on. Well, let's just mirror and weld it over and solve the problem. I don't even need to do that. Let's just take this. Delete hidden. Okay. Now let's get rid of this. Delete hidden. Okay. Then now let's Q mesh. Let's just do all polygons. It's got a thickness to it. Okay, and then here with symmetry on, let's do a single face. Something like, let's say that. And now they just meet in the middle. And then now this is going to match crease, 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 crease. It's now gonna match that. Do I want this now? That is now my question to myself. Do I want this? Let's see. Let's now do an extender symmetrically. Okay, so turn symmetry back on. So I get it on both sides. Something like this. And then what I'm thinking of, we'll see. I'm thinking if we just do all right, let's do this. Just pull, and then we'll do a plane. All right. Let's not turn dynamic on for this plane. All right, we'll make it smaller. We'll make it sit inside. And now make it go all the way to the end, like so. Let's split this off for now because I want to use this to also now, let's insert multiple edge loops. Let's make something. I'm going to go that many. And then I'm going to say brush, insert, boom, brush. Let's also, I haven't saved it in a while. Let's save. Okay, and then let's go brush, create, nano, nano, nano. Okay, and let's take the spheres. Let's do here, let's say all polygons. And then this would be something like this. It would be a little bit also to what's close to what they're doing in him. And then nano, nano, nano. Now I can just size these up a little bit more. I could also not show the placement, so that looks like this. And then they need to sit the elevation, the offset, make them sit more inside that portion. Okay, for now, I'm just going to keep that until I figure maybe something else out. It's just, now you could definitely tell this is like a mouth, right? So a little bit more. We'll see. I don't know if I'm going to stick with this. We shall see. We shall see. I'm not sure. Maybe what I also need to do, exaggerate this a little bit more. This portion. Just really make that come up even more. No, that's too much. I don't like that at all. I prefer the way it was. Okay, now that I look at it, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll do something else here. I haven't decided yet, but we'll find out. We'll figure it out. And again, some of the stuff I might change as I move along. You never know. When you use the extruder, is there a way to not have it crease the edges on the inside? You're talking about the Z-modeler extrusion. If the edges are already creased, so if we do here, let's look at just this one, right? If you look at this, if I do an extrude, okay, this is then we'll do a single polygon. When I'm doing this, it's going to crease the face, because what it's extruding is that face that I'm hovering over right now that already is extruded in all four edges. So there's not going to be a way to come in there. Oh, so you're talking about the extender. Yeah, you can turn off. You can turn off. So if we here, we'll just go to a sphere. So it's a little bit something to see. Oh, there you polymesh. Okay, so sorry. Extender, extender, extender. Okay, so when you're extending like this, and we'll put it back to symmetrically, there's a cone where if you don't want that new edge and that new edge to crease, that's what this yellow cone is right here. So if you can turn it on or off, on or off, on or off, and then you even have inflating in, inflating out, inward or outward as well. And you can turn your creasing on or off. Okay? So that, if that's what you're looking for, then the extender, yes, you can turn your creasing off with this. Is that what you were looking for? I'm assuming. Yes, that cone. Remember, if you hover over them, we'll tell you what the cones are down at the bottom. But there you go. All right, so we're getting somewhere with this guy. He's starting to come together a little bit more. Yeah, I'll see. I don't know. He might be getting a little too busy for me. We'll find out as I keep going, right, down the process here. I'm going to put some more details in the neck, some more details in this probably. And I don't know if I want to keep this in the face. You know, the more and more I look at it, it's starting to become a little too busy. And we'll have to play and see if I want that busyness or not in this mesh, right? You know, even looking at this, I want to see what this would look like instead of what I'm doing. would I prefer just that? Yeah, I don't know. This is why I like using the live booleans, because then I can show things and hide things for sure. I think here I'm definitely going to want, looking at this, let's see what we got here for. This will be interesting. Okay, I don't need, whoops, I don't need this many edge loops. So let's get rid of this one, this one, this one. Let's turn this on. Okay, I'm gonna go far back as to here. Okay, so now let's delete everything in the middle. I want to see something. My brain keeps wanting to look at something to see. Okay, no. Not this one, not this one. Okay. So now we have these faces. So let's now slicey. Let's make a slice right here that's perfectly straight, and a slice right here that's perfectly straight. So now we have that green and other polygroup that's in here. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think that would work. And now what I'd like to see is if I QMesh polygroup all, what does this look like? Kinda, I feel like it needs this. Like it's just, and then I can also have that become a different material for him too. Like, yeah, I think it needs that, right? And then again, I can then say let's bevel. So let's do this. Let's insert single edge with a crease edge, just to make my life even. Now I want to stay consistent. We'll go bevel. We'll do this, and then I'll do it on that side as well. Oh, all right, I already got it there. Let's do a crease. Let's see if we make this more prominent. What does that really look like? And let's say something like this. Like, do I want it to go all the way around? Let's see what it looks like if I go all the way around. Instead of polygroup all, let's do a poly loop. Okay, let's just see what that looks like all around and see if I would prefer that. I think I would. I think I'm gonna go all the way around. And then now let's bevel this. That's why the bevel was happening on the other side. Like this, and then now we will crease, complete edge loop that, and then I think I would, if I'm gonna make them be different colors and stuff, this is where I can probably bring in like some color, a little bit of color, and maybe that becomes its own color, right? Like, yeah, like something like that to me seems very interesting. Okay, then I would throw in, okay, I do like that band going around there. I'm a fan of that. I'm going to keep that. Let's then continue. I see something else that I want to try. Okay, so let's, I'm going to make this QMesh. Let's do a polygroup all. Let's do poly loop. Let's make that, and then that. Okay, so now we have these two. Let's switch to extruder, profile. Let's grab this. All right. Let's go ahead and let's think about this the way I want to do this. Let's duplicate it. Let's use the duplicated version now. Let's do this. Let's get rid of everything else. Geometry, modify. delete hidden. We got an extrusion. Okay, let's go now. Stroke. Curve functions. Let's only do the polygroup. So now we get this. Let's turn this into a subtractive. Okay, yes, yes. Let's turn this into a subtractive. Let's touch. Open this up. And now we're getting this. And I think it needs to be a lot smaller. I think we're going to have to okay, that for me is definitely something I think I want to play with, this ability. Okay, so let's delete this for now. What I need to do is, again, we want a nice, clean one here. All right, so I am going to brush the modeler. Let's duplicate this. And then I want to delete this. Let's insert. Let's delete this face, and this face. And this face. Okay, and all we care about now is this play. Right, so then I'm going to once again use the slicing to slice straight here, and use the slicing to go straight here. Actually, we want this to be maintained because I want as much as I can. We'll do this, then we'll do this. All right, now we got this kind of action happening. Those are very straight. What does our little friend give us now? Oh, let's do this. Keep groups. Zremesh it. Let's see what we get. Okay, good. That's what I was hoping for. Now we've got a row of topology. That polygroup it. Yellow was fine. It's just always a habit for me. Now all I care about is those. And modify topology, delete hidden. And then now this is now the new subtractive, right? So now we have this. Go back to that extruder brush, click this. I think this one might be interesting. And then we'll stroke, frame it, touch, and now this is what we got. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, split it, turn this off. No, turn that one off. We want this one on. And then we're going to call this rename head cuts. Okay, and then I think we are going to need, we need to do probably something more like that. And then I'm going to need to adjust it now a little bit. Because I want the cut to be behind the eye. Right? I want that cut to be behind the eye. So now brush move. Let's go big. Let's make sure symmetry is on. Let's pull this out more so they are matching. There we go, something like that. And then now I'd be intrigued to see what if I symmetrically brush the modeler. Oh, let's see, is there two? I think there's two here. I had symmetry on, so there would be two. We need to get rid of the other one. There we go. Delete hidden geometry. Delete hidden. We don't need both. We don't need both of you. Okay, where's the center? Here's the center. Well, there we go. Like, I don't know how well this is going to work, but this is more for me to just try and play with something, and I got a way to fix it up. I'm thinking, this is just so where you guys know where my head's at with this. I'm thinking I would like to see some of this cut kind of have a different angle to it. And it's just how far do I want to go? I think I'm going to go way down here. I think I'm going to come all the way down to here. Okay, so let's go here, 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 here. Oops. Here. Okay, and let's just mirror and weld it so I know. Okay, let's get rid of that one. And now what I want to do, let's do a delete. Polyloop. Let's delete this. Okay, and then now this. Let's take this. And then let's move this back to like something like that. Let's center it. We'll reset, and then now let's shrink it like that. So now we have that. That's pretty interesting, actually. And then now let's redo. Let's do, again, our bridge. I like the round corner one. So let's turn symmetry on now. Bridge from there to there. And there. Like that to me is something I would like. Right? Yes. 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 I'm happy with that. Yes. Yes. Okay. So this is where we're at with him. I started getting way more details on him, right? Going. So if we turn this off now, and then now we render that out. There we go. This is where I'm going with the renderer. This is where it's starting to go. Again, as I keep moving, we'll see if I've done too much personally, maybe. We'll find out. We'll see how much detailing I want to put into this guy. But I like the direction I'm going with him right now. I think I'm feeling it. I still don't know about the front of the face. I like what's happening in here. I don't know if we want to put the repeating thing that's in also him. We can do that. You know, maybe play a little homage to the original, right? That has this little fanning thing. Maybe we do a couple. Maybe I do a couple of those fanning things in here, right? We could take these and then play with that idea. Like if I duplicated this, let's see what this will look like. Let's see if we would like this. Okay, and okay, so we want to keep this on. So I would say let's do a polygroup single. So I'd say let's do 1, 2, 3, 4 would probably be the most I would do. And then let's make an insert. Let's make it halfway in the middle here. There. Oops. There, it's snapped. Okay. That way I can now just do these. Modify, delete hidden. Okay, and then now these are just Q meshing, polygrouping all, pull these out. Right, they have this ability now. Kind of, this is what I'm thinking, but I think we could go smaller. Right, like that. And then now, let's do this. Let's do transpose, polygroup all. Wait, is that a different color? It's just let's make sure. Let's do this to make sure. Let's make sure. Let's make sure. Let's make sure. Okay, that way those are all the same, all the same, all the same. Then transpose, yes, boom. Those are now all masked off. Let's reset this. Let's do this. And then let's move this more to the center and make them do something like more like that kind of thing. Again, I don't know if I'm going to want this or not. It's not the worst thing. I just don't like now how it's not horrible. I don't know. What do you guys think? What if we shrunk it down to? Like, should we go really shrunk down? Just paying a little homage? I think if we're going to do it, I think what's working is doing it like that. I don't know yet. I don't know if I like that. We'll have to, you know, maybe I'll just keep it for now. And then maybe I'll do something else, right? When I'm at the point here of interest. Like, so I'd say, let's do a crease all. Let's take this. What if I did inset, 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 polygroup all. Okay, and then now I can do an inset, make another polygroup. Now do I Q mesh out like this, or do I do this? Right, this is, and then crease all, and then smooth it, and then now you have that instead. I don't know. I kind of am liking it. It's tough to say right now. I don't know. Maybe I'll just keep it. Again, this is the hardest thing. Just keep stuff and move on. And then see, you'll start putting details other place, and you'll see what you don't like and what you do like. So, I don't know. Right now, maybe I do like it. Maybe I am feeling that right now. All right, well, this is where I'm at with him. You know, and then I'll figure this out. You know, there might be something that I do with this as well. We'll see. But right now, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at with him. So he's moving along nicely. Moving along nicely. It's taking me longer than I would want, but it's part of the discovery, right? Let's see. I just want to make sure. Okay, so I'm on number 11. Okay. All right. Unfortunately, I have to get going. Before I do, as always, is there a question about anything that's come up for you guys? So let's see if I put perspective on. This is what he looks like with perspective on. He's coming together. He's pretty cool. Little O2 short circuit, but also tune shaping. My own little version. And there could be a point where I maybe finish this off because he's pretty cool. He's coming together, you know, and I make this a vest jacket. I like the vest jacket idea here for him. So I can see myself doing that. He's pretty cool. I kind of dig it. Kind of digging him. It's coming together for me. I like you. I like you. I like you. I like you. Okay. Any questions from anybody before I call this done? Skis, moving on. Ski. Yeah. Very cool coming together where he's looking like it's looking like a sticker. That's what I want. I'm trying to make it look like kind of like a sticker. I like, oh no, yeah. All right. Questions, comments, concerns? On iPad, if you're trying to save changes of default brushes, you would have to save it out as another brush because you can't access the default folder on an iPad. So if you want to make some changes, you're going to have to save that out and then put it in your Z Startup brush presets on the iPad. You can't go get the original brushes. iPad doesn't have like the same folder structure as a regular computer does. So we did not, all that stuff's not exposed to you. So that's what you'd have to do. Let me know if that helps. It gives you kind of what you were going for. Kind of, I don't know, I'm just looking at the stream and like, I'm really happy with this guy. He's really coming together. He's a fun piece. It's pretty cool. I'm kind of liking it. I'm kind of digging where we're going with this. And now I can't help myself. Like, I'm going to like, I can't stop myself. Like this thing right here, I kind of, I'll be honest, you know what I'm seeing with this right now? God, see, I gotta stop though. Let's duplicate this. Let's rename this cylinder. Because I'm seeing it, so I need to do it. I have to do it because my mind is seeing it, so I need to do it. All right, let's size this way down. It is way too big. I don't want it. It's big. Let's crease this just for now. Crease. I might not like this. It's just something I'm seeing right now, and I kind of want to see what it looks like. I want to see if I am going to like this or not. Move this out. Let's make this be a subtract. So it's going to cut into the surface. Let's recenter these. Let's turn diasymmetry on, local symmetry, but not dynamic. And now let me, like that. Now I want this too. Like, I'm kind of seeing this, and like stuff would go in here, right? I would put other things in here. I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know. I'm always game for suggestions. Like, do I go all the way to like here? I think that'd look crazy. Huh, then again, it's not that bad. Definitely not all the way through, obviously. Like, does it go to here and there's like some big, huge cylindrical thing in it? It's kind of like his brains. Or do I just only do like this? This is kind of why I really love live Boolean. I can really take a look at stuff and see. Right, and then what I'm thinking is, okay, so if I have this, Shift R, maybe this is also where I can put the repeating thing I got. But then if I duplicate it, then I'll have this, right? And then now he has this. And now these ones need to be a little bit smaller. So it creates that look. And then something like this. Okay, now I'm really done it to myself. I can't stop. I gotta stop. I gotta go. Multiple inserts. Same polygroup. Let's do this. And then let's shrink it once. Control W. And then Q mesh it. Polygroup all. Something like that. Then I would say, gives it that ability. Then I would say I would definitely probably want a bevel here. Pretty big one, actually. I want something like that big. And then again here. And it kind of would sell that stuff's connecting a little bit. Right, and now I would take maybe even this polygroup and then now just do that. And now you have this. And would it be more interesting? Yeah, this is crease. So what if we uncrease this? Crease. Uncreases, so it becomes really soft. So it's a slow into like some kind of cylindrical headpiece or something. I don't know. What do you guys think about that change? This might be something I throw up online. What do you guys think? With the cylindrical crazy thing or not with the cylindrical crazy thing? That is the question. I've got no update for you with anything with the interface for desktop. No. When we're ready to showcase or make announcements, we'll be doing that. But the team is hard at work, thinking about what paths we want to take. Thinking how we want to do this. Again, taking the inspiration that we've got from the iPad, what we're doing with the iPad, and then taking a look at that and seeing how we can move forward. I don't know. I might keep that cylinder thing right now. It's interesting. But this is the beauty. Do I like it with it or do I like it without it? So, right, so if we do this, I can now turn these off. I don't know. I don't know yet which one I like better. I think I like it with it better. But I think there may be something I can do here with this. I'll figure it out. You like it with? John says he likes it with. I like it with. Right? And now I guess my decision would also be, do I want it to be like this deep into the head? Like that's pretty interesting, because now what if I did this? And then what if I did Q mesh flat island? What if I now did this? I see that I don't like. I don't want it to stick out like that. But we could now push this in. Okay, see that's, I don't like that. I prefer it to be more like that would be my preference. Now we're really going on tangents. It's almost like you're looking at the inside guts of it, I think, too much now. Now it's just like you're seeing the guts of him too much. Personally. I don't like that. Like, that could be what's happening actually inside that's driving him, right? So I think that I definitely don't like showing that much because now it's just becoming too much of the character. Yeah, okay. I'm more if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do something more like this. I think. Combo, you were like, which one do you like? Are you asking about ZModeler to be rebuilt? Are you asking, like, I mean, we going to take the UI of ZModeler from iPad and put it on the desktop? Yeah, we'll see. That obviously these are things we got to think about. That would be part of the goal, is we can have a unified UI on desktop and iPad. I think I do like this little cylindrical hole thing in his head. I think I'm digging it. I think I'm liking it. And I think what I would like to do, now that I look at his head, I think I want to exaggerate this portion right here. So if I do polygroup flat island, really, it's that big? Huh. Oh, the change is that much, huh? Let's turn perspective off. What if I just, let's do more of this. Make his head a little bit bigger too. And then when I have perspective on, I don't know. I think actually, now that I've done it, I think I prefer where it's at. All right. Let's save. Okay. I personally, specifically for this project, I am doing project saving because I've done stuff in the rendering where I've done some render filters. I've made my own special material, right? So I just always want to have that at my ability. So I'm not saving a tool specifically for this. When I'm doing projects, I tend to sometimes do tools first, and then I definitely move on to projects for me. That's kind of what I do. But I think it's a personal preference. Obviously projects are going to be bigger. I'm eating up more of my hard drive space. But again, it's because what I just did right there, that's all part of my project. And then I know the material that I made is always coming with it. The problem if you save a tool, you don't get the material unless it's been assigned to the model, right? You have to assign any custom material. You either has to ship with your ZBrush, or you have to assign it, right, to that. So project's just a safe bet for me. So I'm using a project instead, is what I'm doing. So there you go. There's my personal preference. That's just again a personal preference thing, I think, for you. And it's just more stuff saved. I'm not gonna lie. See, I have to stop because I keep seeing things I want to probably try and experiment with. I need to stop. I need to let it go. Yeah, there's also a moment where you just gotta move on. Gotta move on. Oh, okay. No, I can't help myself. I want to see something real quick, actually. Let's take this. These are my cuts. Let's use this down here. But let's switch it to a cube. All right. And let's have this cube stretch the length of this. And we want that cube to become squared more like this. Come like this. Let's put it on a 45-degree angle. Let's do that. Now let's pull this back to like here. And let's stretch it all the way across. Just, I want to see what that would look like. Yeah, I think it definitely needs something like that right there. And I don't want it to affect the eyes though. So right now, it's affecting the main eye socket. Okay, so I'm gonna need to start making some start groups. I want this to only affect the head here. Like that. Yeah, it definitely needs that. Like, it needs that plane change right there. And so just coming straight down, I would say yes. And then now, obviously, this, I start a new start group. I need to duplicate this, make this a subtract, and then move this up to the other start group at the bottom. So the arm disappears. Yep. 100%. That one for me is 100%. And then let me just fix this portion. Brush, move. Oops. Might have to redo that. I know a better way I can do that. I'll fix that later. Okay. Yeah, that for me is a 100%. That I'm definitely keeping. I like that a lot better. Yeah, if we want, yeah, I'll make a sticker of this in perspective, and then I don't know how you guys would get it. We'd have to figure that out. We could pick an angle and then make it. That would be fun. It'd be fun to do. We could make a series. All right, there's where we are. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Again, this has been another Did You Know That with Paul Gaboury, and I am officially